All right, good morning, everybody. I see we still have a few people logging in. We've got Jeff here with us. We are ready to rock and roll. So, as you guys were logging in, you could see up there our beautiful banner for TechCon. So, if you've been coming here every Monday, you've heard us talking about this for a few weeks now, and it is quickly approaching. We've been talking with all the speakers, lots of exciting stuff going on. For those of you who haven't heard about it yet, TechCon will be at the end of this month on the 31st. It's a Tuesday. It is from 9 to 5 and an all day event at the Doubletree over by Bell Tower. And what this event does is gives you lots of options throughout the day of different tech things to attend. So we've got a main stage, which will host our national speakers and some local speakers, big topics, lots of stuff that, is tech that you can bring to the real estate industry and your business to make you more successful. We will also have breakout rooms, which will have your vendors in it. So all of those tools that you see on your dashboard, they're coming in. They will be doing 30-minute pitches in the breakout room. And then in the tech alley, you will be able to visit at the tables your sponsors as well as those vendors when they're not presenting. We're going to have food trucks and all kinds of fun stuff. It really is a jam-packed day. Great way to get everything that you need in one go. And then there will be an after party at Dave and Buster's across the parking lot there for everybody to, relax, talk about what you guys learned that day, meet and greet with the speakers, the vendors, the sponsors. Really cool opportunity for you guys. But these types of things aren't possible without great partners like Jeff and our sponsors. So I'm going to give Jeff the floor here for a little bit, let him tell you about his business. And then after that, we'll get right into Remine.
All right. Thanks, John. I appreciate that very much.
Good to
Um, Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Schaefer, and I own Schaefer Marketing. We are a fractional business development and marketing agency that works with service-based businesses here throughout Southwest Florida. Um, what I want to do today is I'd like to give you two lead gen tips that you can use because I'd rather earn your business by giving you guidance and advice rather than trying to sell you services. So the reality of the equation is that agents winning right now are doing the little things consistently, and that's the things that matter. Being able to have a sphere of influence and be able to utilize AI tools to be able to have personalized communication to people that you know and their circles. So what I would propose to you is to, if you're not already utilizing a tool like ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Gemini, any of the different sources out there, you're missing out on being able to save yourself hours of time. So what I would like you to do is think of this as a sphere, your past clients, friends, people in your networking groups, anyone that you know, and take the top 50 contacts and use ChatGPT or Claude and tell them this is the most important part. You have to prompt it the right way. And I hope and I know that TechCon is going to do a good job at explaining a lot of those nuances. But prompt it as if, and here's an example. I'm a real estate agent. Here are 10 people from my sphere, give their names and brief info about each one of them, and write 5 personalized outreach messages, not generic, but specific to their situation. The AI is going to give you 5 different angles, and you can pick from that. And personalized messages get far more, reach than just the generic emails. And you can probably line up 3 to 5 coffee meetings in a month based on just doing that. It'll save you countless time as well. It takes 2 hours typically. That's like a 15-minute deal then. The second tip that I'd like to give you guys is have AI follow up with the sequences, right? Most of the leads don't convert on the first attempt. You got to be a really good closer. And with so much noise out there in the marketplace, from digital ads to videos and just any different segment that you're in, you have to have 5 to 7 touching points. So if you're an agent out there and you find that it's boring and it takes forever, here's some hacks for you. If someone inquires about a property and reaches out, use ChatGPT or those other LLMs and ask. Someone asked about property X. Write 2 follow-up options, one friendly and then one with a specific offer. Make them 150 words, personalized to what they asked. and then you pick the one that's best for you, that's personalized, and send that out. Why does this work? Because it's consistent. The thing that we miss as business people is consistency, and that's what equals conversion. So AI is going to make that possible. In a support methodology, you need to look at it almost as if it's an assistant for you. And that should take 5 minutes, instead of 20 minutes. So before I leave you guys, what do I bring to the table? Well, I hope these tips work for you guys, but realistically, the agents who are really winning aren't doing all the execution themselves. They're not wearing all the hats. They're doing what they're good at, showing homes, closing deals. They're the ones lining up all of those nuances to let somebody handle the specific functions of marketing. That's what I do. So if you guys ever need, as an agent or an office, support in business development or strategy, even consultations as far as that goes, I'd be happy to help you guys build your lead gen systems. Anything from website development, in-person visits, networking groups, and things like that. I can get you guys in the loop as far as what works and what doesn't, and try to cut the nuances of expenditures as far as that goes. So with that said, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys, and I look forward to seeing everyone at TechCon. And if you don't have your tickets right now, hop on the website, royalpalmcoast.org, and do so. All right, back to Joanna. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff. Real quick, how can they contact you if they're interested in using your services?
Oh, thank you very much. The best way to get a hold of me is to go on my website and visit jeffreyshafer.com, JEFFREYSHAFER.com. Or you can call me or text me 239-285-3485. If that website address is too hard for you, I also have other vanity website addresses such as SantabelCaptivaMarketing.com, SantabelMarketing.com. I bought a bunch of those. So anyhow, I look forward to connecting with you guys. Hope to see you at TechCon, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. And it wasn't just an elevator pitch. You guys got some golden nuggets of information before we get out there into Remine. And, take what Jeff's taught you guys today about AI if you haven't looked into it yet. And you can apply it into what we're looking at today, right? Like, how do you start doing your farm and doing your marketing? And, we've got some great tools that'll help you find the data, find your niche client. But then from there, there's all this work that has to be done. And, to his point, you can use a lot of AI to get those tasks done for you, whether it's creating the postcards, the mailers, the marketing pieces, the websites. Maybe you're going to go after a specific community. One of those things that you can definitely apply towards Remine. So that's awesome. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to share our screen and we're going to hop into Remind here and plug through it. If you have any questions throughout this, the chat box is disabled, but you can use the Q&A and I will answer your questions through the whole thing. For those of you that were with us last week, we went through RPR and Realist, which are really, really great data tools, much like Remine is. But Remine, I like to think of it as another animal compared to RPR and Realist. So the ones we went over last week, they all data driven, right? You can talk about like location, whether the homeowner is there or off base. There's a lot of things to filter by, but Remine is more of a like personality tool, right? Or a behavioral tool. There's going to be a lot of filters in here that you can use that are based off of like potential clients activity, or they've got a really, really good algorithm in there for a sales score. So we're going to dig in there and go through these different filters and all the information that you can find out there for filtering out farming, finding that perfect client. And we talked to this a little bit last week. Everybody's different, right? We had some people on the call that were specializing in like the international customers. So we filtered through how do we go after people who were owning properties here from Germany or, from Brazil. We had a couple of different requests in there, but then we also had people who were specifically going after distressed homes, so your foreclosures and your short sales and things like that. So there are so many different aspects that these tools will talk to, and it's not a one size fits all, right? Because that's what makes this industry so great. We've got 9,000 members right here in Southwest Florida, but there's plenty of business to go around because there are so many different buyers and sellers and niches and needs that each of you may fit. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. I'll try to talk to all of the different aspects that Remine has, but really think about what it is that your niche client is and your niche need is that you're willing or wanting to work with, and how that's going to apply here when you're filtering through data. All righty, let's go ahead and share this. All right, so clicking into Remine, let's go to our dashboard first and foremost. In here, where all of our tools are, is Remine. It is top row here. So last week we went through realist and RPR, all the R words, and they do a lot of the same data things. So I guess that's just a commonality there. So clicking into Remine, it'll bring you in here. Now I kept the pop up here for you guys to point out that they do a lot of communications and a lot of classes on their own, aside from what we do here in the MLS Mondays. They also do fireside chats. So our rep, Mandy, who covers our area and our district and our group, she does a lot of these chats where she just makes herself available on a weekly basis. So if you're kind of like working through this and you either have feedback for her or you have, different things that you're looking to accomplish that you want them to do, or you want help, anything like that. Like she's just there to chat. Okay. So, great pop up. If you click register now, it'll give you all of the dates for the week. Okie dokie. So clicking out of here, this will bring you to the main dashboard. Okay. In here, there's a lot of different things that you can do to keep up with your sphere, to keep up with your searches, your property notifications, and things like that. But the first time that you come out here, where you really want to start in is the search, because everything that you do starts here. What you end up saving, whether it's a saved search or a cart, that's what's going to feed into your daily, right? You can track properties. You can watch your saved searches, all of those different things. Let me click back in here and make sure that we don't have any questions. All right. So in here, we've got a lot of different filters. Starting at the top, you can specifically search by an address. If you just wanted to go out and pull data, like for a specific property, you can certainly do that. You can pull by city, zip code, neighborhood, all kinds of different things. Let me move the faces over here. All right. So in here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start. We'll just put in Fort Myers. And you can see it classifies it by city. If I were to type something in here like Pelican Preserve or Sandoval or anything like that, it would come up in here under neighborhoods. So if you're looking to work a very specific niche neighborhood, right? Like maybe you live in Pelican Preserve and you want to be the realtor there because you hate waking up every morning and seeing that your neighbors have a different sign in their yard other than yours. Whatever that might be, they've got all of those different filters in here so that you can add in the different ones. And you can see I was previously searching in here and I've got a lot of filters already running across the top because whatever work you've done prior is what stays, okay? But I'm going to simply go ahead and clear this out so that we can start fresh. All right, so we've got the city of Fort Myers is what we're searching. If you wanted to as well, we talked to this a lot last week, nationwide search. Okay, so this will allow you to search any of the other states. I talked to the example last week that used to love mailing out to Boston in the cold months. I've got a lot of family in Boston, so I can, really connect with those people and relate to them and talk to them about the transition. My family went through it. So it's just a good connection piece, right? We've got a lot of people here from Ohio and a lot of those feeder states. So when it snows, I use this program to pull data on the homeowners that are up there and see, if they're looking to move down to Florida. So you have the option for the nationwide search, but we're going to focus on our data and our location here today. All right, so you can see right now that properties is what is highlighted. That means it's going to pull all of the public record data. If you did listings, it would just pull MLS. So if for whatever reason you specifically wanted to search MLS data, you can filter it down to that. Most of the time, where you're going to want to be is in properties because that pulls all data. I see a lot of people use the listing tab if you're going after like expired and terminated. If you're looking to gain business for those who have their house listed and no longer have it listed, that would be an option that you would use that for. But your best buttons are going to be running down here along the side. So these are different filters that we can apply to a specific area. And like I said, a lot of their filters are more behavioral based. So I see a lot of people using Remine if they're going after a specific type of buyer or seller versus just hard data. It really is about what you're trying to accomplish. So they do have some property specific stuff in here, which is great. Property value. This is going to be based off of their algorithm and what they believe the property to be worth. So if you're looking to work in a specific sector of property values, maybe you're doing high end, so you only want to do like the luxury properties, you can certainly filter it by that. Maybe you are looking for a deal for a customer, or you're looking for investor properties and you want to search these smaller prices, you can do that as well. All right, moving into the next one, home equity. This is a really, really good button to pull really quick without you having to like go and look at what the mortgages that they have recorded and how much the property is worth and trying to figure out, who out there has a lot of equity in the home that would benefit from selling. They've gone ahead and done that for you. They've plugged it into this algorithm. So you can do it by a percentage or you can do it by an amount based but if you're doing like a wide price range, you probably want to do it based off of a percentage, right? How much home equity do they have? And maybe you're going to pair with a lender or you're going after foreclosures, whatever that might be. That's why you see here like the negative home equity. That would be an opportunity to talk to people if you specialize in, getting people out of those sticky situations and maybe you work distressed properties, that kind of sector, that would be the button for you. Or if you're, looking to help people with refis, there's also some more buttons down here that you can use if you were to partner and split your marketing costs with your favorite lender. Lots of options here. Okay. But all of this is helping you at the end of the day filter down to who is actually ready to sell, right? We're not just taking a random community and mailing everybody a postcard. You can really create niche marketing here and speak to what it is that you're sending out. So you could do a mailer to your community, just use the filter for home equity, and your marketing could specifically talk to that. Hey, I see that you've got great home equity that you can cash out on right now, talk to the benefits of it, and help them through that process. Then it is more targeted to that consumer. You're more likely to get it read, and you're not just throwing out this blanket postcard to everybody and wasting marketing dollars or wasting time, right? All of this is about finding that exact specific niche client for yourself. All right, so our next one is ownership time, right? So a lot of times you don't want to mail to people, you don't want to start marketing to people who have just moved into their home. They're not very likely to sell right away. The average they used to say it was 5 years, right? People would move on an average of every 5 years. We're starting to see that number go up a little bit, right? If you think about it, 5 years ago was 2021 and the market was hot and people were getting good rates still. We're going to start to get into that range of, where we look 5 years back, and that's when the rates definitely went up. But we're looking at COVID years when we go 5 years back. So a lot of those people are still sitting on their properties, but you could go ahead and use the rest of these, so people who have lived in their home much longer, click apply. And you can see that every time that we add a filter in here, our map updates as well as our results panel here on the right-hand side. So this number will continue to go down, which is something that you can keep track of. So you can continue to add filters until you're at a good point where you feel comfortable with how much you want to send out or how many people you want to target your marketing to. And all of these on the right-hand side are also updating as we go. All right, continuing to scroll. This is everybody's favorite button, this sell score. So this makes it super, super easy. They've got, and Remine was really one of the like leading tools to start a sales score. You now see it in a lot of other tools, but I remember back when Remine first launched, and everybody was like, "Holy crow, how do you do that?" They have an entire algorithm and all kinds of data that they feed into a system that determines, somebody's sellability and their self score. So the things that we've already used are fed into here, right? We're looking at the length of home ownership. We're looking at how much equity they have in the home, what the rate is on their mortgage, but they also pull in a lot of other data. They talk to the fact that they have a feed in with the USPS so they can see what type of um, information is going to them. Maybe they're signing up for home improvement magazines, things like that. They have a lot of different data out there that goes into what they've registered for, that's connected to that address, all kinds of really creepy things. But it's really, really cool because it helps you determine whether these people are actually ready to sell or not. So we can just go for medium and high sell scores and click apply. And then continuing to, let me not move my map there too much. Sorry, guys. Continuing to move down, recenter that on occupancy status. So this gives you more filters than we've seen in the previous tools, right? You had owner occupied and then absentee owner. This one specifies it a little bit more. You've got corporate ownership, owner occupied, absentee, but they still live in the state, absentee, they live out of the state, right? That kind of gives you an idea to, are they like snowbirds or are they investors? Not saying that everybody who's out of state is a snowbird or everybody who's in state is an investor, but it gives you just better filtering so that, again, you can adjust your messaging to exactly what the consumer needs. All right, continuing to scroll down, everybody's favorite topic, flood zones. Let me just check really quick and make sure that we don't have any questions. No. All right. So continuing on down here, flood zone risk. So you can specifically go after properties in specific flood zones, right? They've fed in the FEMA map here. So if it lands on the map within that specific flood zone, you can select those, the unknown, low, medium, or high. And you can also turn on show flood boundaries and it will update this map, and show all the different boundaries, just if you wanted a visual from it and not, specifically to filter by it. Continuing to scroll down, we've got building type. So this is pretty straightforward. Single family, condo, townhome, multifamily, or other. So if you are the condo queen or the condo king and you're looking to go after all the condos, you can select just condos. I know when I practiced, it was like definitely my weakness to work with the HOAs and the communities. To me, it was just, a headache. I loved single family homes. So a lot of times when I marketed, I would just select our single family homes and click apply. And you can see here we're, way down to 19 results because I've put in so many filters at this point. We'll keep scrolling. We've got land use, which is really, really great. There's not a lot of tools out there for my people who are, doing a lot of land transactions. We see a lot of that moving, kind of remain steady outside of residential or, the other fields. So in here, you can specifically go after land types. If you're looking to do commercial, utility, entertainment, public, farm, you can do residential or, keep out residential, but really, really cool extra filter there. So these next tools are kind of what I talked about before. If you have a favorite lender that you wanted to work with and do marketing with and say, hey, you can sell your home or you can refinance, or, give them two different options where it's a win-win for both of you guys. These are great filters to use. There's one that filters based on the mortgage rate that's currently on that home. So if you wanted to go after people with high mortgage rates and talk about refinancing or selling, really cool option there for you. Or, if you just did not want to go after anybody with the lower mortgage rates because everybody's kind of sitting happy with their mortgage rates they got during our COVID years, then you can leave them out of that filter if you don't think that they're a potential client. And then mortgage age, how long have they had the mortgage? So this is separate from when they bought the home. And then this would be when they got the mortgage. Maybe they took it out later on. Maybe you want somebody who has no mortgage. You can certainly filter by those. That gives you a better look into what their situation is so that when you're target marketing these consumers, you know where they stand. Also, number of loans, right? We've got a lot of people who have taken out multiple loans. So if you only wanted to go after people with a single loan, or you wanted to go after people with multiple loans and work with, again, a lender on that, you can certainly do that. It goes all the way up to four. So loan types. This is really, really cool if you specialize with people with specific loan types. So, especially for those of us that work with the vets, if you want to go after VA loans and help them transition into new homes, really cool way if you're working that market to filter by that. Not to say that every vet has a VA loan, but it's a nice, easy way to find people who are within that niche of clientele. We also have people with FHA loans, HELOCs, conventional loans, ARMs, and then you could filter it out to other as well. Continuing to scroll down, we've got original loan amount. How much did they originally take out on the property? So you can see here again that there's a lot of behavioral based filters in this program based on their financial situation, their sellability with that sell score. It really, really digs deep into what they've got going on situationally to give you an idea of what customer you're going after and how likely they are to sell. All right, last sales price of the property. So this would be when they purchased the property, how much it was worth if you needed that. Our distressed sales, which is really, really popular for everybody who's going after investment situations. So you can filter these down by Liz pendants, notice of default, notice of foreclosure, or notice of trustee sale. So if you only wanted to go after foreclosure properties, you would just select this one. If you wanted to go after all of these, again, you can go after where it is specifically in that stage, depending on where your comfortability is or where you think that they're more likely to work with you as a realtor. All right. And then last but not least, this little button is just the click of a button gives you who the cash buyers are. So that means they bought their property cash. So if you're looking to work with people who are cash only or help people cash out on that home, you just click that button, it filters it automatically. And now you can see that we are down to 9 results because I have added a lot of filters here playing around with it for you guys. But if you're very specific in what you do, you can get it right down to what it is that you need. You can go after the yacht club area, you can go after all kinds of different things. So we talked to using this filter up here to find your specific city that you wanted, or maybe it was the neighborhood. But if your area that you want to work is not just a specific city, a zip code, or a designated subdivision, you can also use these drawing tools over here and draw out the area in which you want to work. So clicking here, we would make a crazy shape. And obviously I'm drawing where there are no properties, but this here would allow you can add multiple shapes on top of each other, which is what I've done now. But if I took out the Fort Myers filter, it would just do this Dunbar area that I circled. So the shape drawing is really, really popular, especially for those of you who are over in Cape Coral. And you don't want to do like the entire zip code, but you want to do a nice little niche area of your neighborhood. That is going to be what's best for you to use that for the area. And then along with that, you use all of your filters here. Now, I do want to point out that you can see all of our filters are running along the top. So at any point, like if you've over filtered it, like I have, right? I only have 9 results to go after. You can come back through this and just simply X these out and get rid of which options you want to, right? So I got rid of that polygon shape, even though it was inside of my other shape. You can just X through those, re-add filters. Everything will continue to move with you as you use this. You also have filters here. This is more so the property data and the MLS data, right? So all of these cool tools running all along the side of the map, behavioral based stuff that we don't see in the other tools. But these filters here are going to give you the basic filters that you see in all the other tools. So the status, right? We talked about this. If you wanted to go after properties that have been recently expired or terminated, great way to do that. The listing type, pricing, listing date, status date, when it went off market, bedrooms, bathrooms, years built, lot sizes, square foot of the home, floors, does it have a garage? This is a national tool, so yes, it marks. Does it have a basement? We don't have basements here, but you can utilize that if you're doing your national search, and parking spaces. So just some really, really random data that you can filter by if needed, specifically around that property. You see here, they also have a commercial button. So we talked about this last week. You've got RPR does commercial, Realist does not, and then Remine does do commercial, which is really, really cool. So coming back to this, you can see I switched it to commercial and I've switched back here. So we are at a fresh start. I will show you guys what you can do with these properties once you've filtered it down into what you need. I'm going to come over here and pick on the yacht club area, kind of give you guys a look at how this drawing tool works. So just going down to the yacht club area, we've got 4,516 results. And I want to go with people who are very likely to sell, right? We're going to make this easy peasy. I showed you how to really, really get into it with all of the tools. But now I'm like, hey, I just want the tool to do the work for me. I want to go after this area and I want to go after people with high sales scores. Okay. We've got 310 people in the yacht club area with high sales scores. I think we actually have high and medium. So let's get rid of medium. We'll just do high. That'll really drop it down. 133. Okay, people who are very, very likely to sell right now. With this, you can click into each of these properties if you wanted to. There's a lot of data that they pull in on the property card here. Previous listing photos. It says it's currently off market. Gives you the basic details of the property. You can share it with somebody. You can save it to your cart. You can create a CMA. You can show it on the map and you can print out this report. So what's really cool about this is as you're working through your farm, if this is where you're doing all of your business, you can continue to come back out here when you start to get those clients, right? You can share the home with them and say, hey, this is all the information of your property. Is it correct? As you start to do the CMA or you start to get ready for your listing appointment with them, share this with them and, get the right information. And then you can also do your CMA right inside of here as well. So continuing to scroll down, there's the public record information. There's lots of maps. The parcel map will give you the lot dimensions. We have a lot of people who call in who are like, they're like, how do I find the lot dimensions? It's in a lot of different places. One of them is right here in Remine. That'll give you the size. It'll show the location on the flood map. It'll give you the basic map and the street view. Building features, the statistics, this all comes from public record, the tax information, the assessed value from the property record, the market value, property history, right? It's going to show you if it was listed, when it sold, the mortgage history, which is really, really great. We don't see this in a lot of tools, but you can follow through the mortgage history on the property and see, did they like pay a lot off and take out another loan? What's the movement on that? What's the behavior that they've done with the property? The school area for the property. This would be more so, if you're on the buyer's end. But hey, if you're working that area and you really want to dig into the data so that you can figure out that neighborhood, this is what's best for it. And it is powered by Niche, which is a platform that does all the school data, their ranking, if they're an A school, B school, things like that. But Niche is a really, really cool tool that they've fed in here. The valuation on the property, and it shows you how they got to that valuation, how they believe that that property is worth that. It shows you all of these. And I know a lot of you are going to like roll your eyes and be like, oh my gosh, why is there a Zestimate in there? That is because your clients are going out there and looking at Zestimates. It's not because, they're the leading in CMAs. No, it's so that you are prepared for conversations and you are seeing exactly what it is that your client is seeing out there so that you can prepare for those conversations. Then you can keep notes in here as well and submit what you think the property is worth so that it'll stay in the note out here for you later. Really cool tool that's also fed into here is Air DNA. This is a platform that helps you figure out what the home would be worth if you were to use it as a vacation rental, right? So we've got a lot of people doing Airbnbs and VRBOs in our area. This walks you through the process. It takes in all the information from that property and helps you do an evaluation on that. So something really, really cool for multiple situations. One, if you've got the buyer who is just looking for investment properties that they want to put out there. And then two, if you're going to sit down with a potential seller who is saying, well, we're thinking about selling it or we're thinking about like turning it into a vacation rental, you can say, great, let me help you with both, right? You've got all of the data right here. You can do the CMA on it, but then you can also pull in this tool, which will help you out with figuring the analysis on what it would be worth in that market. Demographics of the neighborhood here. They've got college graduates, how many have children, average household size, average household income, and the average age. So, owners and associated people, this is one of my favorite parts about Remine. So, we've talked through all of the other tools as far as sending out mailers, right? Because you're pulling address data, which we're going to get to in here. But this one, of course, I pulled one where they've got their information scrubbed. However, there are contact cards out here where if they have a linked phone number or email, you're able to pull the linked phone number or email right here in their contact card. So, there's a good amount of people who have scrubbed their information, but I would say there's still, when I come out here and look, about 70% of the people, you can still find at least a phone number or an email address. And it will tell you if they are on the DNC list, right? The do not call list. That will be listed here for you as well. But a cool way to grab some other information aside from just farming a market via the addresses. All right, so coming back here really quick to check the questions. No questions yet. All right, so last but not least, I want to show you once you pull your list what you can do with all of this data. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click select all. And here you can see it's got 133 selected. Now you've got two options. You can save your search, okay, or you can put it into a cart. So we're going to do both. We're going to make this our saved search first. And we're going to call this, what's today's date? We're going to call it March 16th class because as you can tell, I may have done this class a time or two. All right, so in here, we're going to click this and then we're going to save. You can also save this to one of your contacts and it will set up an auto email for them through the Remine system, okay? So now we've gone ahead and we've saved it. We'll go out to the list in the saved searches so you can see what that looks like in a minute here. Then you can select all and you can add them to the cart as well. All right, so I already forgot the date, guys. March 16th class. And if you already have a list going and you wanted to add more properties to a current cart that you have, you can do that as well. You would start typing and then you would click on it down here. If it's a brand new list, you can see it's going to give you that option that says create the March 16th class list. So two different options there. So once we've taken all the data and everything that we've filtered by, we're going to come over here into saved searches first. And you can see that this is our list here. Now, what this does is it allows you to send out that saved search or view that saved search. So the difference between a search and a cart, right? We get this question a lot because you've got searches and carts in this tool. You've got it in Matrix. You've got it in One Home. And there's all kinds of tools that use this terminology. And I know we all work in, for us, we work in tech every day. And as realtors, you're like, what does this mean? We're just supposed to know. So the difference between a search and a search is going to keep your search criteria, right? So it's constantly flowing. The data and the properties are flowing in and out of it based on what fits the criteria day to day. Okay. So the properties are constantly changing. A cart is going to specifically follow the properties that you added into it. Okay. So the cart that we made today, those 133 properties, it will always remain the same. Even if somebody's sales score drops to low, we're constantly just following those 133 properties. So a search is about your search criteria. A cart is about the properties that you've put in it. And hopefully that clears that up. I know there's always, we get that call a lot. There's confusion, and that's okay. If I didn't make it clear as mud, you can call in. We can walk you through that as well. So in here, we can add and remove contacts, like I said. So you can add in buyers or sellers if you wanted to, or you could just add yourself if you wanted to get alerts for when things inside of your farm market change, right? I loved putting this in here because when somebody moved into like a high, so let's say it's in the yacht club, they weren't part of my list before, and suddenly a property has changed into a high sell score. I instantly would send them a letter. Okay. Because that's one of the filters that I use the most, that I would have myself set up on alerts for, is anybody who moved into a high sell score. I've also seen very creatively people use this and set up. Would have buyers that they would set up on it. Maybe they have a very niche home that they're looking for, and there's no properties on the market that have that. When somebody moved into a high sell score that fit their property needs or criteria, maybe there's a specific street they want to live on, whatever it is. When they moved into a high, it would alert the realtor and the buyer, and they would reach out to that homeowner and say, hey, are you interested in selling? Like, I really, really have a buyer. I'm not just sending you a postcard that says I have a buyer. I really have a buyer. So just some different creative ways to use that to follow along those properties. And you can set it up with ASAP, daily, weekly, never, however it is that you want to get alerts on this, send out alerts, and then you can edit it at any point. And this is where you would add or remove your contacts. But the cart is kind of where the traditional farming comes into play, right? This is where we would get all of the data that we just pulled. So the search, great way to keep an eye on your farm market, your area after you've done your initial marketing that we're going to talk about here. But I would use both, right? The way I just pulled it, I did the saved search and then I did the cart so that you have both. So in here in our March 16th cart, you can see that all of the properties that we just pulled are in here, all 133 of them. So you've got different options. You can select all, and then if you needed to, you could deselect some. So the status is on here. You could come out here, somebody who is active had landed in your cart, you can get rid of them if you wanted to, pick through these as needed. Once you have everything selected that you want, you've got several different options up here. You can export the data. So it gives you the option of which ones you want. This is going to give you an Excel file, right? So you can go through here and choose all 25 of the fields that you want. Most of the time, we're just coming out here, grabbing the address and the homeowner. But if you wanted to be able to take that sheet and filter out some different things from there, you can also do that as well. And that will give you, after you click export, it will download into your browser a Excel spreadsheet. So you can take that and turn that into labels, or you can send it into, if you're using somebody professionally to do mailings for you and they just want the Excel spreadsheet, we see that a lot. You can send that over to them. We also have this button for send mailers. Now, what this is going to do is going to have us name our campaign, and it's going to take us out to another platform where it will import all of the addresses for us. So I believe we had the question a few times last week about, hey, like, where do you guys get your mailers, right? And the other tools they'll give you the list, they'll give you the labels, things like that. What Remine does, and I know it's kind of struggling to open here, what it does is, let me make sure that it's sharing the right screen here. All right, let's see. And I see we've got a few questions in here. So as soon as we're done with the postcards, we will come back in and go through those questions. All right, so the postcards here, it will open up this platform. It'll allow you, it automatically plugs in the quantity of how many postcards there are. So it's automatically going to say 133. You can select the size of the postcard that you would like. And then from there, we'll do like one of the jumbo postcards. From there, it's going to allow you to build out your postcard. Now, I'm not going to go through this whole process with you guys because There are so many options out here, all kinds of different categories and different things that you can speak to. But what's really cool is, I didn't have to do any extra work. I just clicked send mailers and boop, it took me out to a postcard platform. It had letters and all kinds of other things. Go out there and play around, see what tools they've got for you. But it pulls in all the addresses, it puts the address on there for you, and you don't have to sit there and, stick your stickers to all of your postcards anymore. So, really, really cool. It also has the option out here for mailing labels. So you can either get the Excel spreadsheet and make it into your own labels, send it to whoever's doing your labels, or you can have it pull the labels yourself. You also have this button here to remove. So if you are working through your farm list and let's say you send out like your first mailer and somebody calls you and they're like, if you ever send me a postcard again, like I'm never going to work with you. Okay, all right, let me go out here and take you out of my farm. So you can come out here and select through some of these, and if you needed to, you can remove them from this cart so that it's, constantly updated, always moving. You can, again, add properties in here, take properties out, keep track of them. Maybe it's based on what you get from your saved searches, right? So you get an alert in the morning that somebody became a high sellability score. You reach out to them, you add them into your cart, and then your cart is like crystal clean and it's perfect, right? You've taken out people who are not interested. You've added in people who are continuing to become new high sellers. You've just got, this perfect little cart in here of your niche market. And you can click into each of these properties, see if you can find the phone numbers and the emails on those contact cards and reach out to them in other ways. But then you also have the way to export all of this data and all of the addresses. All right, so I am going to come back in here because I know that we've got a few questions. All right. So you started a search in zip code 33904, but it doesn't show the active listings you have in Tamiami Court, only others. Okay, Anja, if you want to send that in to MLS at rpcra.org, send your address into the email. We can take a look into that. It's not in your list either. Oh, here we've got the address. Let me see if I can pull it for you really quick in front of everybody. If not, then I will have the girls look into it. All right, come back out here into the search. And then if any of you guys have, if anybody else has any other questions, you can type them in the chat for now and we'll make sure that we get through them because we do have a little bit of extra time. All right. So when I pull yours, I see that, it's properly marked active. Days on market 250. It's in here. So if you're just not seeing it on the map search, 33904, let's go back to the search. All right, let me delete out my little shapes. And then I can even add in here the active properties. Oh, goodness gracious. You've got 777 results in there. All right. So I will take a further look at that one for you. I do see that it's out there and it's active right when you pull just that property. But if you're not seeing it on the map, it might be, typically the issues that we see when people call in and they're like, hey, I'm not seeing something, or I'm trying to make it show me something. It's just that I've over filtered it, right? And I look up here at the blue and I'm like, oh, I realized that, I clicked off, maybe it was a mortgage rate or, cash only buy or something like that. I see that happen a lot that, let me try this way. Again, I'll go through here and play with it, see if it shows up on the map, but that property card is in there properly. All right. So, any other questions, you guys? I think we got through all of Anja's and her property. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out and spending your Monday with us here. If you have any questions, you get out here, you start playing around with it. They've got a great help and support button down here in the bottom corner. but also reach out to your staff here at the MLS and we can walk you through a lot of different things. Um, you can call in and ask for MLS, or you can email us at mls@rpcra.org, and we'll be here to help you out. So I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and we'll see you here next Monday.